Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here today to talk about that would have been weird, talk about his top 10 worst movies of 2020. And there were some bad movies in 2020. 2020 was a shitty year in more ways than one, more ways than 10 to that fact. And first I'd like to start off with dishonorable mentions. I only have one. The New Mutants. The only reason this movie is not in the top 10 worst is because it does have a little bit of eye candy in it from Anya Taylor-Joy. I mean, she's nice to look at, and there's a little bit of that. Other than that, this movie's trash. It's PG-13. It's a fake horror movie. It's pretending to be a horror movie, but really it has no horror in it. It has horrible story, a horrible dialogue, just terrible. It's such a worthless pile of shit. I mean, I could care less about this stupid story. This stupid, worthless story of these mutants, and they're in this big abandoned asylum with this one woman doctor who's very unintimidating, and just like she's not intimidating at all. She's a terrible villain. And the movie's basically like Glass. I mean, it's basically like watching Glass again. Which, I mean, even Anya Taylor-Joy, she's nice to look at, yes, but her acting is not very good in this movie. She's doing a terrible fake accent. She's got this stupid wig on her head. Her character's just all over the place in terms of who she is. Like, it's just stupid. And the CGI is terrible. I mean, this movie's terrible, but at least it had a little bit of eye candy. I mean, what can you say? I mean, I gotta judge the whole movie. Every little detail counts. And that's just what happens. Number 10, the 10th worst movie of 2020 is The Jesus Rolls. Ugh. This is supposed to be a spin-off of The Big Lebowski, and it's all about the Jesus. And first off, John Turturro is doing a terrible job. He's just doing a terrible impression of this character, who he used to be able to do really well. The movie itself is just very stupid. It's not funny at all. In fact, it's so unfunny, the characters are laughing at their own jokes. That's always a bad sign when someone laughs at their own jokes in movies. It's just, ugh. It's just cringeworthy. And it's just a stupid plot. I mean, it's terrible. It has so many just random plots. They bring in Susan Sarandon at some point, and she's really hot for her age, by the way. Just saying. And then it's just, there's no point to it. I mean, this character, we could have had a really good movie, and it could have been like the unofficial sequel to Big Lebowski, and everyone would be like, oh my god, you haven't seen Big Lebowski Part 2? Go watch The Jesus Rolls. But no, it's this stupid movie. I mean, they even reinvent his backstory, where it wasn't a purposeful thing where he exposed himself to a kid, which was his backstory in the original movie, and made his character kind of dark. No, they changed that to where it was an accident, and where it was like a stupid male thing, like, you have two males comparing sizes in the toilet. I mean, ugh, that's stupid as hell. But I will say, the one thing I loved about this movie was the performance of the woman. There's a woman who stars in the movie. She's from the Da Vinci Code, and she did a really good job, actually. I really liked her. I thought she was a good actor in the movie. I thought she did a good job for what they had, and what they have was trash. They even go back to the same sets over and over again. They can't even find, new sets. There's no bowling in the movie either, except for like one scene where it's kind of like ripping off Buffalo 66. Ugh. Number 9 is Bill and Ted Face the Music, which I know is gonna get me a lot of controversy, but it sucked. It seemed like it started off really good, actually. I was excited. I liked the daughters, kind of. I liked Bill and Ted are still pretty good. But the plot, it's just really mediocre. And it gets worse as it goes along. And it culminates in this terrible finale where it turns out the daughters are the ones who have to do everything, of course, because it's, feminism. And then, Bill and Ted, they're hardly even a part of the song. And, like, it's really insulting to the Bill and Ted franchise, in my opinion. You had to have, like, the comedian, oh, God, what's his name? George Carlin. You had George Carlin's daughter. The character's daughter, Rufus. His daughter, and she is terrible. I hate seeing her in movies. She's so unfunny. And she ruins this movie, too. There's a stupid robot character who sucked. There was some good stuff in the movie, but just overall, it was just not good. It was like candy. It's like eating candy, feeling nostalgia for, Bill and Ted, the first one, was really good. And I will say the one thing I liked about this movie is I loved the scene with death and hell with Sadler, Mr. Sadler, William Sadler, Bill Sadler, I can't remember. I sound like such a douchebag when I can't remember people's names. It pisses me off. But I really liked him in this movie with that one scene. It actually made me excited again, like, oh wait, maybe this movie will get good again. But no, unfortunately, I just do not like this movie. I'd never watch it again. The final song was terrible. I mean, that's the song that saves the universe? Ugh. I mean, if you're talking about a song that saves the universe, this song should be legendary. It should be a song that everyone in America is listening to right now as I'm filming this review. Number 8 is American Pie Girls Rules. Ugh. God, talk about uninspired trash. Straight to DVD, not funny almost at all. I mean, it had one really funny scene with electric panties, I believe it was. This movie, obviously you have the feminism angle. No one wanted to see a woman based American Pie movie. I'm sorry, but it's just stupid. It's like an all-female, like, Ghostbusters reboot type thing, and it's stupid. And it's just so lazy and so formulaic and, cliche, agenda. I like the main actress. She did a good job. I actually liked her. I thought she was actually a good main person. If she had a good script, I could see this movie being really good. But it was just terrible. I mean, I still remember I was having like a headache, like a bad headache, and I woke up. I must have hit my head or something. And I woke up, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I just happened to find this movie on YouTube for free. And I was like, it was like suffering. I had the headache and I was watching the movie. And it was like, oh God, this is like torture. And you have all these people who simp and say, oh my God, this movie's the greatest movie ever. Because they want to get in, you know why. They're simping. They say they like this movie. They think the actress will DM them or something. And you had a female Stifler in this movie, and she was atrocious. She was not like Stifler at all. In fact, she actually came off as more of like an athlete type of character, like Oz from the original series. And in fact, she plays lacrosse in the movie, and she seems more of like an athlete girl rather than the Stiffmeister, who was like a party Michelangelo type of guy. Number 7 is Promising Young Woman. Okay, here's the thing. I live near the Brock Turner situation, or that happened, and fuck that guy. That guy's a rapist. He should be in jail right now. I totally agree with that. But the thing is that this movie was written by a British woman, and it was made in, like, Los Angeles, California. It was not made in Ohio, where the Brock Turner thing happened. And so the fact that, this British woman thinks that she can make this movie about American people and make this, like, big statement about how all men are rapists, all men are evil, it's the same old shit with these feminazis. It's such a gross, hateful movie. And it's too bad because it had a lot of potential. Like, it looks so beautiful. It looks colorful. The cinematographers, the set people, it looks so colorful. I wish more movies would look like this movie. But it's supposed to be a horror movie once again. There's no violence the whole movie. I was expecting some violence. This movie is rated fucking R, and there's no violence. That is so stupid and so irritating. It's basically rated R because they say the C word a couple of times. That's basically why. To top that off, the main character, she's not likable. If you encountered this woman in real life, it would be like walking on eggshells talking to her. It's like, I better not say that, I better not compliment her hair, because if I compliment her hair, I'm a rapist all of a sudden. That's what this movie was like. It had tons of other agendas too, but it's too bad because it had some really good stuff in it, especially like the last 30 minutes where basically she discovers something and it basically makes her turn full evil, like she just does not give an F anymore. And I was really excited because I thought, like, this movie could have been like American Psycho, but dealing with rape, and it could have actually had an impact with it. But no, there's no impact from this movie. It's a movie made by a British woman who has no idea what she's talking about. So yeah, fuck this movie. But I do actually think, though, that Carey Mulligan, the main actress, she did an award-worthy performance. Number 6 is The Way Back. Ugh. I know, you guys must be shocked. The Way Back with Ben Affleck. Ugh. First off, I should not have watched Coach Carter this year, because Coach Carter is basically this movie, but good. This movie, is so much cliches. It's very short. It's very just one-dimensional. You got Ben Affleck. He's giving a good performance, but it's just not worth the time to watch. There's nothing special about it. It's a very boring, dull movie. It's the same old shitty cliches that you see all the time in these types of movies. And the ending is terrible. The ending is probably the worst part of the movie. It's basically like a fizzle of an ending. It is a completely anticlimactic, fuck you audience ending. And it's too bad because it was directed by the guy who directed Warrior, the movie with Tom Hardy. And that movie was really good. And that movie was like sort of like a modern, like, it was so action-packed, and so I thought, like, maybe there'll be some more action like that in this movie with the basketball, but no, just light. This is a light movie that, like, you show a school classroom to get them to shut up and watch a movie. It's not a good movie at all. And look, I actually put it below the feminazi rape agenda movie. That should show you how much this movie was worthless and garbage. Number 5 is The Five Bloods. This is another agenda movie. You know, you got Spike Lee, and he's a racist in real life, and so, you know, he's got to make this racist agenda movie, where, you know, I won't say all the agendas because, you know, probably get a lot of dislikes and people who, you know, aren't actually listening to what I'm saying, like with the you know, the recent Your Honor review video where, you know, you had all these people, you know, misconstruing what I was saying because they didn't even listen to the whole review. And so, you know, I'm not going to say much about why this movie's trash, but it's trash. I mean, it's boring. It's basically ripping off Apocalypse Now, ripping off this, ripping off that, and it's just really nothing good. I don't. It was so boring, and like I didn't even finish it. I only got like 50 minutes into it because it was just so bad, and it was, you know, it's just full of agendas, and you know the acting isn't that good, the story isn't good, the dialogue isn't good, uh, and you know it's just another shitty agenda movie like Black Klansman. And you know, I have seen He Got Game, and I thought that that was better than both of these shitty agenda movies. So it is possible for Spike Lee to make a somewhat good movie. It's just that he just cares about the agenda, to promote this hateful agenda that divides people, and you know says that like just anti-American agendas, anti unification agendas, like to make us all like divided, like, oh, all whites are racist, all whites are evil. You know, that's this movie in a nutshell. And it's too bad because it actually had the concept of a really good movie of like these black soldiers going back to Vietnam. Like that to me, that sounded like a really good concept that I was excited for. And I thought like, wow, is this gonna be a good movie? Oh no, it's gonna be an agenda movie. So that's unfortunate. Number 4 is My Spy. Ugh. God, this movie was torture. This was back when I thought like there's no movies coming out, so I just gotta watch. Gotta watch, get through it just as quickly as possible because, you know, you got Dave Bautista doing a terrible job. You got this little annoying bratty girl character that you see in these kids' movies, like, oh, she's a smart kid and she outsmarts the adult. And you know, it's just so stupid. You know, such a worthless trash movie that kids should be insulted by everywhere. And you know, they even had some agenda stuff near the end, like with you know, that stupid woman from Bill and Ted 3 who played Rufus's daughter. She's like talking about the wage gap in a kids movie, you know, the non-existent wage gap in a kids movie. Like, what were they thinking? And you got this stupid, like, Dave Bautista's dancing and he's like demasculating himself, doing this, all these stupid things. It's just such a terrible movie. I mean, it was cringeworthy. The whole movie is like something that you look at and you're like, ooh, I would not want to be in that movie. I would not want to be remembered for being my spy. And, you know, it's basically kind of like ripping off Kindergarten Cop. Ugh, just terrible. And honestly, it could be lower, but all the other movies that are lower than this movie are that much worse. Number 3 is Books of Blood. Ugh. I had a terrible experience this year watching Book of Blood, the other one. And this movie, and I figured out that movie's the worst movie of all time. Well, this movie is close to it, because this movie gave me PTSD from watching that movie. You start off, you have this really mediocre story about this girl running away to live with this family, and it turns out the family are evil, and they're going to kill her and keep her under the stairs, basically ripping off people under the stairs. And, you know, I thought the girl did a good job. She's a girl from Ghost Club, if you've ever seen that kid's movie. She's all grown up now, and I used to watch Ghost Club all the time as a kid. I rent that from Hollywood Video, and so it was cool to see her now, and she did a good job in this movie, and with the material she had, and then the parents, I like both the evil parents, but then you get to the second part, and the second part is a retelling of Book of Blood, and it's just as bad as Book of Blood. And then you get to the third part, which is basically a clusterfuck of random shit, and it's worse than both other segments. So this movie is just a clusterfuck of shit that just pisses me off. It's not horror. It should not be called a horror movie. There's no violence, basically. There's nothing scary. There's just a bunch of stupid jump scares. Terrible CGI effects. The same old shit we see in all these horror movies. Quote-unquote horror movies nowadays. This movie is an embarrassment to horror. It's an embarrassment to cinema. And it should never have been made. Maybe it could have been made if the stories were better and the scripts were better and all that. But we live in a day, an age where horror means shitty, sanitized, non-horror. So this movie should not have existed. Number 2 is Blade: The Iron Cross. Speaking of movies that never should have existed, this is another fake horror movie. Another shitty, non-horror movie pretending to be horror. This movie is insultingly bad. It's cheap. It's like $10 was the budget. The acting is abysmal. Like the main woman, she's like doing The Exorcist, and then you have this like cringeworthy German scientist guy who's like, I want to know your life force. Show me what you do with your life force, little girl. And the girl's like, just this boring girl, and then you have this detective, and he's like, I'm a cool, suave noir detective, and I'm a theater actor in a movie, and I'm a terrible actor. And it's like, all the acting is like that. It's terrible acting. It was hard to watch, honestly. It is an insult to the Puppet Master franchise, and it just shows how Full Moon, how much they've de-evolved over time. And besides that, there's not many kills. The movie is hardly about Blade. The puppet Blade, whose name is in the title. And just the movie is short. It's rushed. It's just, there's nothing good about this movie. It is so garbage. And it's the worst Puppet Master movie ever made, which I didn't know how anything could get worse after some of the bad Puppet Master movies that I've seen. Blade: The Iron Cross gets a big fuck you. This movie should be number 1. That's how bad the number 1 movie is, though. My number 1 worst movie of 2020 is Emma, starring Anya Taylor-Joy. Oh boy, do I have I have a lot to say about this movie. This movie is a straight up chick flick. It is a cringeworthy, trash, bottom of the barrel chick flick. You got Anya Taylor-Joy, a great actress. I don't know about her politics or anything, if she's got an agenda to being in these shitty movies. But this movie was an embarrassment for her. It's so bad. It's so bad. It made me cry watching it. Like, I watched this, like, near the end of the year, and it really felt like 2020 in one movie. It is so soulless. It is so lifeless. It is devoid of goodness. It's devoid of substance. It's basically, I'm going to describe you the plot now, and it'll make you puke. And then it'll make you force yourself to puke again because you didn't get enough puke out from being that grossed out of this movie. It's about this rich girl named Emma, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, and she likes to drink tea and eat cookies all day, and she lives in a big castle with her rich father, and she's really bored because she's rich and she's bored. And so she's a matchmaker. And so she basically manipulates girls into marrying other rich douchebags. And so you got this one girl, and she's a girl who is brain dead, and so she so, so she has to ask Anya Taylor-Joy, who just sits around eating cookies all day. She's never even dated anyone before. She's still a virgin, probably. I mean, it is ridiculous. She sits around, like, judging the color of flowers, what they should be, and she's telling other girls who to date. Fuck off. And so basically, this brain dead girl, she's like, Emma, I really like this guy, but he's a farmer, and he's not 7 feet tall. And so should I date him even though we both like each other, but he's just not good? And she's like, no, you do not date him. You date this rich douchebag who, I'm friends with him. And so, you should date him because he's just perfect for you. Wink, wink. He's just, oh my God, you deserve him. And then meanwhile, after dealing with that shitty, stupid high school Mean Girls plot, which we've experienced in real life, by the way, that's what you call Pretty in Pink syndrome, the Pretty in Pink story, where you have these bitches who sit around telling each other who to date. Oh, don't date that guy because he's not good enough. That's pretty much this movie. It's a very hateful movie. Once again, like that Promising Young Woman. It's a hateful movie. And then you have this other plot where Anya's like, I don't want to date. I just want to eat cookies and drink tea and fantasize about this famous guy who I'll never probably meet until the end of the movie or some stupid shit. And everyone else is like, no, you should date sometime. She's like, I don't want to, though. I want to eat cookies. And so then there's this other guy, and he's rich, and you have all these stereotypes about him. He's a Chad, as you call him. You have Karens and you have Chads. Well, this guy's a total Chad. He's got a douchey face. He's got girly hair, and he's like, Anya, won't you date me? I'm gonna challenge you, and oh, come on, just date me, Anya, because, come on. And it's like, will they, won't they, will they, won't they? It's like, this movie is so worthless. If you like this movie, I question it. I question it quite a bit. I didn't even finish the movie. I only got halfway through. You can tell because I would have summarized the whole movie. In fact, this might be a subject of a commentary where I watch the whole thing and broadcast my pain live on air. Like fucking giving myself surgery on air is basically like watching this movie. And, to tell you why it's bad, I mean, it's the plot in general. A lot of old books, they're good. I can respect them as good literature, but they don't need to be adapted as movies. And also, I saw that this movie was already adapted before. It was adapted in the 90s with Gwyneth Paltrow. So you don't need to have this one. I mean, Anya Taylor-Joy, she needs to be in a... Here's the thing, Anya. You need to be in good movies where your talent is utilized. You need to be in original movies. You need to be in lower budget movies so they're not shitty studio, Marvel type movies. You need to do that, like Split. Do not do more movies like this or, New Mutants. It's an insult to your talent. It's an insult to the world, that they have to see you in these shitty movies and feel sorry for you that you're in these movies and that, like, you're doing your best, but, like, this movie is just so awful, and it's like, it's worthless, and it's so bad that, like, I can't even describe in profanity words how bad it is. Like, seriously, I mean, the movie's called Emma. I mean, why is it called Emma? Why? The movie isn't even like a character study about her. It's about matchmaking and shit, and the stupid romance shit. It's not even about Emma. So yeah, F that movie. Seriously. And so that's it. This went on a little long. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, comment, tell me if I'm wrong, respectfully, please. And then share it with all your friends and family. Just warn them there might be profanity, so don't share it to your grandma without fucking telling them about how much I fucking swear if it's in me. If I have to fucking swear, I'm gonna fucking swear. And I'm surprised that I didn't fucking swear the whole time while I summarized Emma. So, goodbye everybody. See you soon for my top 10 best movies of 2020.